Hello there. Today in the UK, Jewish children are banned from buses and some shops refuse to serve Jews. Wake up! The proof of anti-Semitism is right in front of our eyes here in the UK, and it is anti-Semitism aimed at Jewish children. The people that are demanding an Israeli-Hamas ceasefire, claiming they want to stop Palestinian children from getting hurt, are quite happy to cause alarm and fear amongst Jewish children here in the UK. Yes, there are reports that London bus drivers, egged on by passengers calling out anti-Semitic comments, have been driving past bus stops where Jewish children are waiting to get to school. And one Jewish passenger on one of those buses said she felt afraid as she thought she was the only Jew on there, reports The Independent. And Chaim Hockhauser, the chief exec of the Jewish Community Safety Patrol, Shomrim, said that children are terrified to go home from school or use public transport. And said that it wasn't just bus drivers, it was shops too. It's happening all over the place in London, he said. While the Met Police reports that anti-Semitic crimes have gone up by 1,353% since the 7th of October terrorist attack by Hamas on Israel. And all this totally destroys the claims of the pro-Palestine supporters that they are not anti-Semites, just anti-Zionists. We can now see in all its glory their real anti-Semitic intent. And I do have to wonder how far these people would really take their hate. Were a section of the UK population to decide to blame all the members of one particular demographic for the actions of some terrorists, all hell would be let loose, wouldn't it? No doubt led by the very same people who are gadding about the place randomly targeting Jewish children here in the UK, just because they think they can and think they are entitled to do so. These anti-Semites hide behind claims that the government of Israel and the Israeli Defence Force are involved in the war crime of collective punishment of the whole Gaza population. Collective punishment of the whole innocent Gaza population for the actions of a few terrorists. Well, what do you call targeting the innocent, including innocent children, here in the UK for the attempts of Israel to defend itself thousands of miles away? That sounds very much like collective punishment to me, aggravated by anti-Semitism. In fact, it looks to me like totally disconnected collective punishment. And the very fact that the Jewish community needs a Jewish Community Safety Patrol should tell us all we need to know about the level of anti-Semitism in the UK. A Jewish Community Security Patrol that gets phone calls asking if it's safe to go out onto the streets of the UK. And all we ever hear about is claims of Islamophobia, when it appears to me that it is the Jews that are the constant targets. Anyway, Transport for London has said, "We do not tolerate any form of discrimination on our network and take any reports of this extremely seriously. We are investigating these reports and would urge anyone who has experienced discrimination or has information about any incidents to report this to us or to the police so that it can be investigated." And anyone with any information is urged to ring 101 using either the reference number 4606/26NOV for the 26th of November bus incident or 6372/29NOV for the bus incident of the 29th of November, or call Crime Stoppers on 555 111 if you want to stay anonymous. Right now, the anti-Semites are emerging from under their rocks, emboldened by the misinformation they are being fed by the Hamas supporters. And in the eyes of the law, they could be seen as having committed a hate crime. But further, they could be labelled as being on the first step of radicalization. Our open-door migration policies, failure to tackle illegal crossings, and the toleration of hate speech, or more accurately, our authorities' fear of it, for many years has not stood us well in the UK, has it? Just like the rest of the developed world. And be in no doubt that Hamas was emboldened in its vile act of the 7th of October, and to hide behind its own children, in the knowledge that it had Iranian funding and possibly hundreds of thousands of agents of protest and their useful idiots around the developed world, all awaiting their moment. And we weakly and meekly walked into that trap. Richard.
To whom it may concern, who the hell do you think you are calling decent, hard-working people far-right and racists? Right across Europe, there are ordinary people living ordinary lives with nothing more than traditional values based on their Judeo-Christian heritage who want nothing more than to live in peace. These people are not thugs or racists like you brand them. And many of them have stood up to racism and the real far right, just as we have stood up to the far left, which you probably haven't, because if you had, you would never call us far right, because we have the scars. Our default setting is to deplore racism and extremism in all its forms, and we understand the traditional and most accurate definition of the term racism. And we don't throw it around lightly. To us, racism is to be discriminatory against against someone because of their race. Yes, the clue is in the name. But you misappropriate the word and band it about like it's some sort of linguistic fairy dust used to quell anyone who opposes your liberal left woke ideology. And that makes you racist by diminishing the term. We, the silent majority, celebrate being a society that is tolerant and, yes, diverse, but diverse within the parameters of our own morality and our cultural heritage. And yes, we are not tolerant to those that are not, they're not tolerant to our society. In other words, the anything goes attitude is at odds with us because anything doesn't go, especially when it is at odds with our moral compass forged over thousands of years. And things have now changed, and we are expected by people like you that brand us far-right racists to accept change that endangers our way of life and our loved ones. You see, we, the silent majority of people, have found ourselves pushed into a corner by, let's say, newcomers to these lands who do not share our values and never will. They wish to shatter our way of life and laws and replace it with a new way of life, with new laws that are utterly at odds with our current cultural, spiritual and moral heritage. And yet you call us racist for not just accepting it. Oh, really? We have had integration in the past. Very successful integration in this country. However, this mass immigration, it's not working. But you say we are far right and racists for wanting to defend our values and lives and the futures of those we love. Are you actually saying that it's wrong to stand up to a certain demographic that are utterly opposed to integrating into Western society and have been predominant committers of acts of barbarity against innocent men, women and children? Ah, well, I suppose there's nothing we can really do about it, is there? So let's just all surrender to the new belief system and the new ideologies that are springing up here. Hey! Look under these, one in particular new law that we're importing. I can legally have multiple wives and... Oh, wait, no, forget that. But with the lack of willingness from the centre of politics to deal with the legitimate grievances of people, there will be a rise in popularity of the far right. I will say this, all of you lot out there branding ordinary people far right and racist will one day find out what the far right really looks like. And I dread that day when that actually comes to these lands. And like you, I will be devastated. And you will bitterly regret misappropriating the terms and, terms like racism and far right and demonizing good people, because the real racists and far right will come to the forefront. And no, I'm not talking about people like Tommy. I'm talking about some rather unpleasant characters that I have encountered in my life. They wouldn't even call themselves far-right either, no. They call themselves something else, and it's very much linked with National Socialist Germany. Yes. Anyway, what do you lot think about what has been said in this video? Leave your scribbles in the comment section below for Jeff and I to read. And a special thanks to those of you who believe in the work that we do on this channel by supporting us via Patreon, PayPal and Super Thanks. Links in the descriptions box below on how to support us via those mediums. And God bless you all, and bye for now.